So, welcome to my channel. I'm Molly Holly, and I wanted to talk to you about something that I often don't hear kind of put together, and that's productivity and stress, and how stress can affect our productivity. And I don't mean in a broad sense. So, a lot of the times people talk about stress like, if you're exhausted from stress or distracted by stress, that of course that's going to affect your productivity or how much you can get done. But the way I want to talk about it is a lot more direct and a lot more subtle, like the subtle ways. Oftentimes you hear people talking about procrastination or perfectionism, or the one of my favorite is productive procrastination. And we kind of don't think about them. We kind of talk, they get talked about in a way of like we're avoiding something we don't want to do. But what's actually a lot more subtle is there actually subtle stress behaviors behind it. So, for example, for me, there was a point in time in my career where I used to get so stressed, where I used to get so anxious about calling anyone, about getting on the phone, about having to ask anyone anything. Like, yeah, it doesn't really matter why I had that anxiety, but I just remember always having that anxiety. Maybe it was to do with, I was at a job where I was the youngest, least experienced, so I was afraid of like upsetting someone or calling someone and them just being like, "What do you want?" And then I essentially resolved a bunch of stress, a bunch of unprocessed, unresolved stress within my body and within my nervous system. And what happened is I went back to work and I just started doing my job. I just started doing like calling people, asking people for things, just going about my day. And I got to a moment where I was like, didn't I used to get anxious about this? Like I got to a point where I was like, I I forgot to be anxious. I forgot to be anxious about it. But yeah, I was just talking about procrastination and perfectionism, and how when I forgot to be anxious, how much more I got done, how much quicker I just moved through my day, moved through my work. And it's interesting because oftentimes when it comes to procrastination, it might be like it's talked about in a way it's like you're trying to avoid something you don't want to do. And the way I see it, I know for me, is like overall, I would actually like to not do things I don't want to do. Like an underlying goal in life is to do the things I don't want to do less, so I have more time for the things I do want to do. And so I don't know if anyone's had this experience where there's something they really want to do, right? You're so excited about it, you plan for it, you got to do it, you sit down to do it, and you end up doing all these other things that you don't want to do, like all these admin that you've been putting off. And instead of doing the one thing you plan to do and were excited to do, you end up doing all these other things. And so when it comes to procrastination, the thing is, when it comes to the things we care about, I know if you just do the things you care about and you get them done, but anytime there's a level of procrastination or perfectionism with the things we care about, it's because there's that slight like stress or fear related to it. And I've found that I I was so busy when I was such a perfectionist, because it was like it would took me so long to do every single task, to do everything. And when I started to diffuse that fear, to diffuse the kind of the mindset and the stress and the fear around like, is it going to be good enough? Do I just need to check this? I just need to make sure that this is okay. Then I just started getting stuff done so much faster. It was just like suddenly I had all this time on my hands. And so the kind of these underlying stress things, these underlying fears that go on, it's not and I love planning and I love strategy, but then the problem is sometimes we can find the most productive strategy, or like what's the new productivity method I need, what's the new planning method I need, how do I plan this? And then it's like you're planning to avoid the actual doing of confronting the thing that you actually just really want to do, but you also care about it. And so I always ask myself questions to diffuse that. If I notice myself like hesitating or stalling or not just getting on with the task I want to do, then I ask myself questions like, well, what will happen, or what's the worst thing that will happen? Or one of my favorites is, what would I do in this moment if I didn't care what anyone thought, or if I didn't care how it would turn out, or if I knew that it would succeed? These are all really great questions that sometimes I even just start my day with. If I notice any of these anxieties showing up and I'm wanting to get a lot done, it's like, for example, there's things like editing a video, because like when I record a YouTube video and then edit it, then I have to publish it. And there's a little bit of a fear there. Like, when I publish it, is it going to be good enough? Is it going to be okay? Are people going to like it? So I end up doing all this other admin instead of actually doing the final task. And in my head, I'm like, no, I've recorded it. It's fine. I face my fear. It's like, yes, but then I got to complete it. I got to get to that completion and put it out into the world and allow it to be seen, which is scary sometimes. And so I ask myself, like, well, what else could I do when this is done? Does it really matter if it's not good enough? Or even if it is good enough, like, who cares if it's not perfect? And the thing is, like, it's so subtle. Like, people often think like stress is this big thing, that it's like distracting and there's a lot going on in the world. And when there is external chaos, sometimes it can seep in different ways, and it can show up. And the thing is, like, I work with leaders, I work with business owners, I work with visionaries, and it's always, when you're in that world, when you're in that mindset of having big visions and wanting to create your dreams and go after your dreams, there's a lot that needs to be done. You just don't have time for that perfectionism and that procrastination. And so I love working with people to resolve that stress and kind of diffuse any of these micro fears, so that they can just get on with the things they enjoy and building their dream life. So, yeah, I think I just want to wrap this up with saying that you can't time manage or project plan your way around the things, the anxieties, and the things you care about the most. Sometimes you just got to face them head on and just do them, and just do the things sometimes that scare you the most, because that's where your growth is. That's where your dream life is. That is what it, becoming the person you want to be, becoming the best version of yourself, requires that of you, to face the things head on that you care about, to actually do them and not avoid them. Because the thing is, like, when we care about something, there's also the risk of disappointment, and that is huge. That is so big. And it's kind of just making it smaller. Just like, well, guess what? I don't know. If I don't do it, then I'm going to be disappointed in myself. But then if I do it, it's not perfect, then I'm going to be disappointed. So what's worse? And you'll often find that, of course, like, doing the thing and it not being good enough, or it not being perfect, or it not being exactly how you want it, is where you're going to grow anyway. And so it's really just about, yeah, just doing the things you care about the most, and letting yourself grow from that, and seeing yourself improve as you do more of the things you care about. Alrighty, so I think that's all I want to say for today. But yeah, if you want to learn more about any of the subtle stress behaviors, how your nervous system influences your day-to-day life, I have videos on that on my YouTube. I work with people one-to-one to resolve the stress and get to the point where you just forget you have anxiety. You forget about all the stories you tell yourself about what you can't do, about what's scary, about the risks that could happen, which I feel is so important these days when there's so much chaos going on. It's really important to find that inner authority, that personal power, and yeah, become the stable, still, grounded force within the chaos.